You ever look around and wonder how some marketers are just crushing it? I mean, they seem to be earning 10 times more than everyone else, but they're working a fraction of the hours. It totally flies in the face of that whole hustle till you drop culture, right? Well, the secret isn't about working harder. It's about a completely different way of thinking about work itself.
So, let's paint a picture. On one side, you've got marketer A. They're putting in 14-hour days, just a frantic blur of answering comments, tweaking ads, fixing some random bug on the website, all while staring at a 2% open rate. They're on a fast track to complete burnout. And then there's marketer B. They put in a calm, focused 4 hours a day and spend the rest of their time with family or just, thinking. But their income? It's 10 times higher. Which one of those sounds a little too familiar to you?
So what's the real difference here? What separates these two people? I can tell you right now, it's not about being smarter. It's not about getting lucky. And it is absolutely 100% not about how much effort they're putting in. The difference is a single, powerful concept that, honestly, most marketers just completely miss. And here it is. It's called operational leverage. All that means is it's a strategy for building systems and assets that completely disconnect your income from the number of hours you punch in. See, the average marketer tries to scale by just working more hours, but the top 1%, they scale by adding systems. And that right there is the leap from slow, linear growth to explosive, exponential growth.
This brings us to the first big mental roadblock we all have to get over. We've been programmed to believe that if we aren't grinding, if we aren't suffering for our work, we're not doing enough. But here's the crazy truth. In today's world, your own manual effort is often the very thing holding you back. It's your biggest limitation.
This idea just flips everything we've been told on its head. The hustle isn't the solution. It's usually a symptom of a broken, inefficient process. Real success isn't measured by how busy you look. It's measured by the results your systems can get for you even when you're not there.
Think about it like this. Let's say you have to move a giant 1,000-pound boulder. You could try to use brute force, get 10 friends, and you all push and grunt until you're exhausted. That's linear growth. Or you could spend your time building a powerful lever that can move it with a fraction of the effort. That is 10x growth. One is about applying effort directly, the other is about multiplying it. And here's the real game changer. The 10x marketer completely shifts where they spend their time. They're spending 90% of their energy designing, building, and perfecting that lever. That automated email sequence, that evergreen content machine, that seamless funnel. And only 10% of their time actually pushing the button to make it go. It's a total reversal of how most of us work.
So how do you actually apply this lever-building idea to your business? Well, it starts with changing what you're building in the first place. You see, the fundamental difference between the people who struggle and the people who thrive is what they choose to own. You have to stop owning a job and start owning an infrastructure.
Just look at these two mindsets side by side. The person who owns a job is always reacting, always managing the next crisis. Their business is fragile. If they get sick for a week, the whole thing grinds to a halt. But the person who owns an infrastructure, they design systems, they automate processes. Their business is what we call anti-fragile. It doesn't just survive without them, it can actually get stronger. And how do they build that anti-fragile machine? By using integrated platforms. Think of it like having one single well-oiled machine where your website, your email, your payments, your memberships, it all just works together perfectly. This gets rid of the friction. It kills all those little points of failure between clunky tools, and it automates so much of your relationship building, which frees up your brain for the big picture strategic thinking.
And that right there is the real prize. When you're not constantly putting out fires and trying to get two different pieces of software to talk to each other, your mind is free. That simplicity in your day-to-day operations is what creates the mental space you need for actual innovation, the kind of thinking that leads to those big breakthroughs.
Okay, so you've built the machine. Now, how do you know where to point it? How do you get the most impact? Well, that brings us to the third and final piece of the puzzle, using data as your navigation map. This is what separates smart, calculated scaling from just guessing and hoping for the best.
Your average marketer runs on intuition, on gut feelings. They think they know what's working. The 10x marketer? They don't guess, they know. They operate on hard, granular data that tells them exactly which levers are moving the needle and which ones they need to pour more fuel on.
And it often comes down to one single golden ratio, LTV over CAC.
That's your customer lifetime value, how much a customer is worth over time, divided by your customer acquisition cost, how much you spent to get them. If that number is bigger than 3, you've got a healthy, scalable business. The big problem, most marketers can't even calculate this because their data is a total mess, scattered across 5 different platforms that don't communicate. And I mean, the results speak for themselves. You can see it right here. If you're making decisions based on a gut feeling, your growth is going to be pretty low. With scattered data, maybe you do a little better. But with clear, integrated data that all comes from one system, the growth isn't just a little better, it's exponential. This is how you scale with confidence because you basically already know the outcome.
So you see, earning 10 times more isn't about being some kind of genius. It's about having a superior discipline, a discipline to say no to all the busy work and to step into a new identity. It's time to make that shift into your new reality.
It means you have to stop being the worker in your business, the one who's down there manually pushing the boulder every single day.
And you have to start being the architect, the one who designs the machine that moves mountains for you.
The path to 10x results is all laid out. It's about building assets, automating relationships, and letting real data be your guide. So really, there's only one question left to ask. Are you ready to stop trading your time for money and finally start building your digital growth engine?